Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. So as you guys have been seeing, the last few videos have been mostly these guys framing and just kind of kicking butt on getting the exterior shell and interior structural walls up and finished. I mean, they're almost done. Right now when I'm filming this video, I think they're going to be finishing up tomorrow morning with everything that they're doing, and I am unbelievably excited. It's such a wild feeling. It's such a huge range of emotions to just kind of come over here every day in the evening to kind of pick up the camera and do a walkthrough just to see what these guys accomplished, and to be able to look at this place and just kind of picture like Eleanor and Victoria playing in the backyard here, me and Rachel watching them from the living room, which is up here. Just, I mean, all this stuff is just such an unbelievable feeling. It's truly awesome, and one of the things that I am really enjoying about this is that I kind of get to add to it in my own way, like especially with the framing. I'm not doing, you know, most of the framing, but I do get to do a little bit. So, you know, 10 years from now when I'm looking down a wall and being like, wow, that thing's really out of square, I can probably say I did that. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully I can frame my walls in nice and square and nice and plumb. But for right now, it brings us to today's video. I am getting the area underneath the 3-bay garage prepped and ready for concrete, hopefully later this week. Now I'm doing this in phases because this section that I'm getting ready isn't going to be heated, mainly just for storage and some future finishing that might talk about that later. But if you're wondering why I'm doing all this outside, it's because I have a generator running on the inside powering the heater that's under the garage floor to get that subfloor, all the stone and everything thawed out so that I can dig. But for right now, we'll get our stuff inside, kill the generator, kill the heater, set our light up, and bring you guys up to speed. Okay, so I forgot the other extension cord up the garage, but it is nice and toasty down here. So there's the heater. I swapped that out for my nice Husky light, and honestly, just walking around and gauging it by the way all the stone and everything feels under my feet, we are good and thawed. So, oh, nope, I still see some frost there, so still got some work to do, but I think it's soft enough that I can go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is figure out how far I want this room off this bump out wall, how big of an area I want back here, because I'll frame in a wall right here at some point in time. I would like to have a dehumidifier in this area, which is why I'm putting in this drain, and then we are just going to tie that right into the French drain. And yes, I did get the okay from this, from the sewer enforcement officer and inspector. They both verified and said, drain just for a dehumidifier. That is clean water, so you can run that to your French drain. You don't need to go to, you don't need to take that to a treated area like a septic tank. This is going to be one of those quiet walls where the bottom plate, top plate, and side plates are going to be 2x6s. The studs for in this wall, they're going to be 2x4s, and we'll have it set up for 16 on center, and we'll have one stud on this wall, the next stud on this wall. That way it'll help mitigate any sort of noise transfer that wants to go between that wall. It'll be insulated because everything else in this room will be insulated. Probably not going to be climate controlled because we're under the garage, we're under our you know, outside ground. So as far as the temperature in here, it should be pretty good. The only thing I'm worried about is the dehumidifier. So I'm going to have the drain for the dehumidifier stub up right here in the middle of this wall. Like I said, I'm going to make a trap to help keep water plugged up there. That way we don't have any cold air coming up through there. Yeah, the trap might be overkill, but either way, I mean, I cleared it with my plumber and he said, yeah, if you want to do overkill, put a trap in. So we'll put a trap in, tie it into our former drain right there, and get this show on the road. Okay, so one of the things that makes my plumber friend one of the best is that, you know, I told him the idea behind this, and these guys are going nuts upstairs, just crushing this, so pardon the audio. But anyways, as I was saying, one of the reasons that everything he does is what I consider to be the best is he was telling me that no matter what he's doing, he checks his glue fittings to make sure they're sealed up and tight. So when I told him about this dehumidifier drain, should I put a trap, shouldn't I put a trap, he said, if it were my house, I would put a trap. It's not going to freeze in there. You're never going to have to worry about that. If for whatever reason you do get some sort of odor, whether it's methane gas or whatever coming through that floor, it's going to hit that French drain, which is also the radon. It's going to go out the drain. It's not going to come up the pipe. But he said, regardless, check it. After you build it, plug the ends, fill it with water, make sure it doesn't leak. So this is the final build. This end stubs up out of the concrete. I'm going to go ahead and just hold my hand over this, fill this end with water, and make sure we don't have any leaks. Okay, it's filled up with water, no drips, and this is important because with this being a drain, you want it to hit the drain and not seep out into the floor. Now I know that is a French drain that we're tying into, so the water will probably eventually work its way to that French drain, but we're building it, we want to make sure it works and it's sealed. So, no leaks, no drips, nothing like that. I think we're gonna go ahead and call this a success and put it in. All right, so now that we have that drain put in and backfilled enough where it's gonna stay, I have 2 triaxle loads of 2B limestone called in. So for right now, the ground in here is still a little bit more on the frozen side. You clear some of that top rock and you hit some frozen, some frosty areas. Not to mention there's still little piles of snow from that plastic being balled up. So we're gonna swap the light back out with the heater, fill the heater up, and turn that back on, get it cranking up. So hopefully this will all be thawed out. Tomorrow I can start on bringing stone in, getting this all prepped and ready. All right guys, so we are back here to try to do the prep work and get ready for some concrete tomorrow. I got 2 triaxle loads of 2B limestone delivered for our base. This was the remaining pile of 2B gravel for the French drain. However, before I can start getting in there to do the final grade on the area underneath, I'm going to show you what needs to happen. Okay, so we got the generator running, heating underneath the garage a little bit more, trying to get that a little bit toasty before I jump the heater to under the porch and crank that on high. But in order to get in and out of here with the power buggy and skid loaders, obviously this is my in and out here. I need to fill in this big ditch, but I need to go along with the shovel and clean out the bottom here. All of this rock and stone that rolled down, I need to get some French drain pipe down around the inside of this wall. I'll run it from right here over, down, back over, across here and out that hole. And then again over here, it needs to run along this wall and out that hole. Right on the other side of this hole is where I have the French drain exiting for the exterior. Once that's in, I can go ahead and break a sheet of the 2-inch blue board in half, because per code we need 2 feet of vertical 2-inch blue board running this way along any exterior wall that is at grade. Up here where my dirt line's going to be, you know, up here and sloping down, we don't necessarily need it here because that's all below grade. Alright, so I got my perforated French drain pipe, stubbed out that hole there, wrapping this wall, and then down around there. Now I stopped it at that corner because all right here, you can't really see it because it's dark, but that is all frozen solid. There's probably 2 inches of ice there. So what I'm gonna do is, and not to mention, we're gonna have all this dug out to drill a hole for our underground plumbing. But for right now, what I'm gonna do, because my focus is on this room and this room, I have my blue board, well, green board, I guess, insulation board. I have my French drain pipe. I'm gonna get some stone fed into here. We'll use up the river rock first. That's really nice drainage stone for that French drain. That'll hold that board up. And then I can start feeding my limestone in. I have to build a ramp out here. I have to build a ramp coming in here, so that'll be the limestone to get us in. All right, guys, I got my supervisor with me. We're gonna start slinging stone into the basement to build up that ramp like I was talking about. We'll start with some 2B gravel, cover that French drain pipe, and then we'll start sending in some limestone. That'll compact real nice and make us a nice ramp. What do you say? Thank you. Okay. Well, hey, you're welcome. Okay, so with the help of my amazing little helper, you gonna say hi? No. Just get back to work, Dad? Yeah? Okay, all right, I'll make this quick. We got the ramp built coming in through the main door, and then we got some stone up against the French drain, the former drain on the however you want to look at it, the footer on this side of the doorway. We got a ramp built up to that for the power buggies, and my blue board doorway. It fell! So with that being said, with this being exterior wall, I want to put 2-inch blue board here. So this was all brought up to grade. So now I painted a line for my 2 foot. I'm going to shovel all that stone into there and get that foam down to grade. So enjoy the time lapse. It is concrete time. What is today? Wednesday morning. I just got over here with the power buggy, some fuel. It is still pretty dark out, as you guys can see, but we will have that this time of year. So we'll just spend some time getting set up. I told the guys be here between 6:30 and 7. Concrete's due between 7 and 7:30. I got here a little bit early. I always try to like to have everything set up when it's on you know, one of my jobs or something like that. I don't want everybody rushing and feeling stressed out, so try to get over here early to get set up, and we'll do that, and we'll see you when the sun comes up. All right, everybody, we got the lights set up. We got lines chalked. I got our grade pins in, painted them orange so our power buggy guys can see them. Hopefully they don't hit them. But you can see here, line chalked on the wall, a good 4 inches of concrete here. It's a 4,000 PSI with fiber mix. There's no heavy traffic coming in and out of here, like a car or lawnmower or anything, so we don't need wire, we don't need rebar. We got our zip strip right there for our control joints. Trying to think what else before chaos happens. But no, I think we're all good. Traction mats so that hopefully our plastic stays nice and straight and organized. Buggies will come in and turn on them. We'll pour this area, pour this back, jump up here, pour this section, pour that back, come in, turn, bring that back. And then, like I said before, we'll have to wheel the porch, underneath the porch. But we have plastic there, lines are chalked. We are all good, just waiting on concrete now. First truck has arrived. Yes, sir, whole bag. When I said whole bag, I was talking about this bag of calcium. It helps it's an accelerant, so it helps the concrete set up faster, and it actually makes it finish nicer. So we'll get that thrown in him, get him mixed up. Number 2 should be here in about 10 minutes, so the clock is on. So excuse my yelling, but I have a heater going and there's the heater, generator's running. It's dark, I have the light moved over to there. Underneath the garage is poured. That was about 9 yards, 9.5 yards maybe. We put the remaining half yard in here. Jesse's truck finished out underneath the porch. And then let me show you the most expensive fill ever. So I had probably about 3 yards extra. Like I've been saying, this all gets built up. We're gonna slope all this out. So this makes for really good fill. Expensive, but good. All right, so with the help of a heater and some accelerant, the concrete's setting up really nice. Unfortunately, my time-lapse camera's dead, so I'm gonna set this up on the tripod and get you guys some footage. So first pass is done, and when you're doing first pass, you want it to basically resemble an orange peel. It's hard to see, but as long as you have that texture on your second pass, that's gonna glaze right over, close up all those pores. Easy to sweep and easy to clean, but still has somewhat of a texture that it's not an ice skating rink. So that's what we look for on first pass. My awesome, loving wife brought us some Dunkin' Donuts. Thanks, Rachel. And I'm gonna go ahead and fire the heater back up and just play the waiting game until it's ready for second pass. All right, guys, fired the generator up, hooked the light up so you can see the floor is all nice and finished. And actually, when I uncovered the doorway, got hit with just a wave of hot air. Whew. I forgot how much these rooms like to echo, but it's probably about 60, maybe 65 degrees in here just from the heat from the concrete coming off. Everything looks good. Little bit of water coming in on this corner, but that's because we have a little bit of an opening above the docks plank right here, so a little bit of rainwater was probably coming in. No big deal, that'll get fixed up and taken care of whenever we pour the garage. But for now, I mean, everything's looking good. I'm really happy with how this went. I'm gonna go ahead and switch the light over to under the porch and see how that weathered over there. Okay, so same thing in here. I uncovered the doorway for we're under the porch here, and even with the gaps in the metal decking, if you can see the name right there, this room was probably about 50 degrees. Again, I didn't have the heater running in here. Concrete creates its own heat, so we're able to self-sustain as long as the temperature doesn't drop below freezing for more than a couple hours. However, this room is a little bit different. As you can see, we had some water running down the wall. Late last night when that rain came in, it was blowing on top of the decking, just working its way back, coming down the wall. So we have some water here, but really, it's no big deal because Thrower's concrete sets up really nice and cures really fast. So didn't damage the concrete with the time that it happened. If it had happened like first thing in the morning, probably would have had some issues, but no harm, no foul. We'll let it dry up, squeegee it out if need be. Either way, it's a nice trout floor, so it'll squeegee out really nice. All right, guys, so I couldn't hang out there all day like I would really love to do. We do have a floor to pour, so I have to get going. But basically, I just wanted to give you guys an overview. The concrete getting poured yesterday went absolutely flawlessly. It, you know, the drivers that we had, they did a tremendous job for us. Thank you, Paul and Jesse. Thanks, Jeff and Denny and Jason and everybody else from Thrower that always takes care of us. Adam, Tim, Ian, you guys are awesome. Matt, Jim, Tim, Chris, Dad, thank you guys for the help yesterday. That was awesome. It was truly great to be able to get to do that with you guys and sling some of that sweet gray gold. But yeah, just a couple things I wanted to briefly touch on. I don't need to put saw cuts in. If you guys saw it, here's a clip. I'll try to slow it down. But we use what's called zip strip in our basement floors and unfinished areas. Basically what it is, it's a small piece of plastic that gets put in as we are pouring, and it essentially just creates a weak spot. So it, in theory, it forces the crack there, because as we all know, concrete will get hard and concrete will crack. So that's why we put control cuts in our driveways and patios. That's why we put saw cuts for controlled joints in our garage floors. We try to force and control the cracks. 95% of the time it works. 5% of the time we do get some little freak thing where a cut or a crack jumps out of a cut. But you know, I mean, it happens. We're not perfect. We are human. We put cuts in zip strip where we think it's going to want to crack. And most of the time it does. But the nice thing about the zip strip is it keeps that crack to a minimum. It basically will keep it to a hairline crack. So as you're sweeping, as you're squeegeeing, you don't get a whole lot of debris or water or anything like that going into it and jamming it up, which is really nice. Now, one of the reasons I chose not to run the heaters overnight is because looking at the forecast, we got down to 30 degrees for 1 hour, and then after that hour it was back up to 33, 34, 35. Now, concrete is exothermic. How about that word? Basically, which means as it cures and dries, it creates a chemical reaction which produces heat. So in those rooms that are surrounded by concrete, They are basically giant coolers. So since we have something in there that is creating heat, and the walls were relatively warm from me running the heaters, it held that heat in really nice. Like I said, I took the blue board down and it was probably a good 60-65 degrees underneath the garage area, and probably 50 to 55 degrees under the porch. So concrete creating its own heat actually does help itself. So in theory, it's like Jerry Maguire, where it's help me help you. So yeah, figure that one out. But it is kind of nice, because if we were getting down into the low 20s, the teens, and the generators cut out at night, and the temperature in that room did fall to, 20 degrees or so for a few hours, now we are getting into the gray area of, is the concrete creating enough heat to keep up with itself? If not, you have to cover it. If you cover it, now you're going to leave curing lines in the concrete, which is why we really don't like to pour anything that we can't heat in the winter time. The curing lines are purely cosmetic, just like that dry heat spot I was showing you guys. They don't do anything structural, but if you're paying for a nice driveway or a nice patio, the last thing you probably want to look at is some abnormality, another big word, from something that could have been avoided by just kind of hanging out and waiting for the weather to cooperate. So, I mean, all in all, I couldn't have asked for a better day to get that in. It went extremely smooth, and I owe that to everybody that's helped out. Like I said at the beginning of this outro conclusion, the guys at Thrower, the guys that I work with, obviously my wife, my parents, just everybody. It's been truly awesome to see our dream house come into fruition here, and just kind of the progress that's happening. So with all that being said, I would like to thank you guys for your continued support, and always tuning in. And if you're giving me 15, 20, 5 minutes of your time to check out these videos, you have no idea how much I appreciate it, because time is the one commodity that, no matter how rich or wealthy you are, nobody can get more time. So the fact that you guys are giving me any amount of your time to watch these videos and support me, I truly appreciate it more than words can ever express. So thank you guys for tuning back in to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. If you liked what you saw, please click the like and subscribe. Don't forget to like us on Instagram, and don't forget to check out the description for some product links. I always appreciate the support that you guys give me on those. And as always, you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.